Hey everybody, it's Josie. Welcome back to Cedar Creek Homestead. I hope y'all are having a wonderful day. Well, we've had an exciting morning. If you followed us for very long, you know that a couple of years ago, Howie and his dad went to the sale to took some cattle off to sell, and they brought back a couple of Holstein heifers. Now, we were in search for Jersey heifers, and the prices and the availability were just they were either too high or there just weren't any available for us. So we settled for the little Holsteins, and I had so much fun bottle feeding them and getting them to adulthood and watching them grow. And one of them this morning became a mama. You'll remember I have a black one with white spots and a white one with black spots. And the little white one with black spots that's named Ella after my niece, she had a baby. This morning I got up to get a cup of coffee, and in my kitchen I have a big picture window that Howie had made for me, and I was looking out that window and getting my coffee, and it took me just a second to register what I was looking at. Now, we had her in the back pasture between our house and Tex and Terry's house, and because we knew that she was going to calf pretty soon. But this morning it took me a little bit. I hadn't had my first cup of coffee yet, or maybe a full cup of coffee. I can't even remember now. There she lay out there in the pasture, just as still as she could be, just stretched out. Her head was down and everything. And my heart went into my toes. I thought, oh no, she has passed away trying to have her calf. And so I quickly said a little prayer that she was okay, and continued to watch. And I thought to myself, I think I see her foot moving. Well, praise the Lord, her foot was moving. She labored for quite a little while. There's a window of time that we allow our cows to try to have a calf on their own before we intervene. And she was getting pretty close to that time. And in fact, Tex got around at his house, and I got around here, and I walked around to the double gates to open them up so that he could drive through, and we could go down and help assist her in her delivery. And by the time we got around there, Tex had already seen it from his house coming around, but I couldn't see it from my direction. She was kind of down in a little valley there. I could see her really well from the house, but when I got outside, with the ground being what it was, she was in a low-lying area, and I couldn't see her. I thought she'd got up and walked on towards the corral. I wasn't sure. But when Tex got up there close to me, I asked him, and he said, no, she's had it. So we went out in the field, and we oohed and awed over it, and I took some pictures, and Pops was able to examine the calf, and we determined that it was a little bull calf. Very cute. Wished it would have been a heifer, but most of the time we don't really keep the babies from the first time mamas. Just a rule that we have. But anyway, we got over that crisis, or almost crisis, and I'm back in the house. I've warmed up, and now I'm on to my next project. And I've gathered a few ingredients here to make a recipe, and this recipe, I guarantee you won't want to eat. Somebody might want to eat it, but I wouldn't want to eat it. This is a recipe for a suet cake that you can use for the wild birds at your home, or you can use it for your chickens. And today I'm making this for my chickens, and I had some things that needed to be used up, and I'm trying my best not to just throw stuff in the trash. It seems like every week when the trash people come, I definitely have they have one of those little rolly carts that you put your trash in, and every week mine is totally full. So I'm trying to be more conscious about that and the things that we throw away. And these are things that the chickens are going to enjoy, and I'm keeping them on the farm, and hopefully this will go towards making some beautiful tasty eggs. The chickens slacked off there for a while, and they're starting to lay eggs again, and we're excited about that. So I'm going to turn the camera around and show you the ingredients that I have here and show you how easy it is to put this together. Now, we don't bake this. We don't do anything with this, except you can put it in the refrigerator or the freezer simply to let the grease and the oils harden back up. I have another recipe for a flock block that you actually bake in the oven with molasses and some other goodies, some of these same ingredients. And if you guys are interested, we'll do that too, because my chickens will love it either way. Y'all don't pay any attention to this table. That's all the stuff that I've got on it. You can see that I've got rice that's needing to be bagged up, and I've got my devotional books, and I've got pecans that I've had that I'm shelling out, and seeds and all kinds of things. Just pardon the mess. What you're going to need is a container to put your suet cake in, or you can make a little mold and make a rectangle suet cake if you've got the little suet hangers that you hang out for your wild birds. And I do have one of those, but today I'm going to use a pie tin. Now, this is one of the things that you could probably throw in the trash, but I have snatched a hold of a bunch of them. In fact, I'm not really sure where I got all of them. I cleaned out my under my cabinet, and my goodness, I was surprised at how many of these I had. I think what has happened is through the times of family gathering for different things, instead of throwing things away, I washed them up thinking that they'd come in handy for something, and here we are. So this is just an old pie plate. Now we're going to be pouring melted oils and grease into this, so you want to make sure that there are no holes or you're going to make a mess. The first thing that I have done is I melted some old hamburger grease. I made hamburger patties the other day, like a Salisbury steaks, and this is the grease that cooked off of that. Now, normally I don't have grease on my hamburger meat because it's lean and it's home done, home raised beef and processed, and it's very, very lean. But this is a package of hamburger meat that needed to be used that was store-bought, and it has a lot of grease. My step-grandma kept everything of meat grease that she had, and some of the greases she would keep separate for using for cooking for different recipes. And sometimes she just would put them all together in one. And that was my sister's very favorite up until her granny passed away. My sister looked forward to getting a coffee can of meat grease that her granny had saved for her. And she looked forward to it to use in all of the applications that she used it for. Okay, so your recipe does not have to be exactly like my recipe at all. You do need grease. You can use hamburger grease. You can use any kind of grease, leftover grease. You could even use coconut oil. Know that this is a suet cake, and it's for this time of year. Hot summertime, this is not going to work because this is going to be a melted, nasty mess because it's not made to be in hot temperatures. But it's cold outside, and my chickens are going to love this. The next thing that I'm going to add, I went out to my feed room and I got some scratch grain, and I got some bird seed. And this has got sunflowers in it, and it's got millet, it's got corn, it's got all kinds of little seeds that I don't have any idea what they are. But anyway, I am going to simply put some of these in there. Now, to tell you how much, let's start. I would say that is about 3/4 of a cup, if I had to guess. And I'd say about the same with the bird seed. But you're going to eyeball this for yourself. Now get that all in there. The next thing I have is some dried cherries. Now, I have a bunch of these, and so I'm going to share a few with my chickens. We'll mix this up a little bit. See what we're getting. All right, you can see that it's still pretty soupy and pretty goopy. And we know that the chickens, and especially the wild birds, they're going to like these nuts. And so I'm not going to put a whole lot of nuts, but I am going to put some in there for the birdies. It's starting to get a little thicker. Now, if I wanted to, I could add the rest of those seeds. And when we get our other ingredients in here, it might still be liquidy enough to add the others. We'll see. Now, if I can get the lid off, there we go. I'm going to add in some oatmeal. Now, this will not only feed my chickens, but it'll also be a boredom buster for them. You know how when your children and your grandchildren are snowed in, or the weather's nasty, it's too cold, it's too muddy, it's too this, it's too that, and they begin to argue and fuss with one another. Well, chickens are the same way. And the more they're pinned in, the more they can't get out and do the things that they love to do. They will begin to pick and pick at each other. And you will have some bullying going on. Okay, you can see that it's getting thicker. Now, if you get this mixed together and you decide that you don't think there's enough oil in it, that you might have got your measurements off a little bit, you can melt a little bit more oil and add to it. This is your suet cake for your birds, and you can add whatever you want. Now, some people add cinnamon. Some people add cayenne pepper. Other people, I've seen some people add black pepper to theirs. I am not going to do that today. I'm just going to do this right here. Okay, the next thing I have is a piece of cornbread. Now, I could just throw this piece of cornbread in the trash. I could throw this piece of cornbread out to my dogs and they would fight each other for it. But I am just going to crumble it and just put it in there. And I don't care if it's chunky. That's going to give those birds something else to pick at. And then I've got one more thing I'm going to add, and I believe that that's all that this suet cake will be able to handle at this time. Because the oil is quickly getting absorbed by all the things that I have put in here. Okay. The last thing that I'm going to put in this suet block is an orange. This orange, these oranges have been delicious. But this particular one has got a little bit ahead of me, and it needs to be thrown out. Well, I could either throw it in the trash, throw it out for, to lay out on the ground, but I'm going to add it to the suet cake and let the chickens pick that out. It may look funny, but they will like it. You could add apples to it. You could add pieces of celery, or maybe you have some other kind of carrots or anything like that that is a little bit past its prime as far as looking pleasing to eat. And just, the chickens don't care how it looks, but we do. So I'm going to put this in there and that over to the side and see if I can't get one more squeezed in there. Now, I'm going to use my hands. I don't think my chickens will care. And I'm just going to kind of press this together just a little bit. Now, it may look messy. It might look yuck. But you know all the things that went into this that you're feeding your chickens. And this will probably, I imagine there'll be some other little birds that fly in and take part in this as well. Okay, so here is my suet cake. Your suet cake will probably look different than this, but the only thing left that we have to do besides actually giving it to the chickens is to put it in the freezer and let it set up. It doesn't take all that long, but it needs to firm. You couldn't put this out. You could put it out there now if you just set it down like this and let them, let them pick at it. But you really want it to be a little bit firmer than this. So just put it in your freezer and let it set up for a while, and then take it out and let your chickens and the wild birds pick at it and have some fun. After we got it all mixed up, guys, I went and I decided to put it in the refrigerator and let the grease and the oils set up, and it has, you can tell, and it feels like what a suet cake would feel like if you bought it from the feed store. It's not hard like what a flockbach is, but it's not soupy either. And so that's exactly what I want. The oranges are still fresh, and the chickens will get those right out of there and go to work on those. And so I know that I'm going to have some happy hens here in just a little while. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you see how easy it is to make your own suet cakes, and that you can use coconut oil, your leftover cooking greases. Don't throw those away. You can make a treat for your chickens and add in all of those extra little things. I hope you guys enjoyed this recipe. Even though it wasn't for us, our hens are going to love it. And until next time, guys, this is Josie. I love you. I really do. We're gone.